my early 40s, my husband and I had to move across country for a job change for him. And I was so torn up about selling my house and leaving it that I got the idea to write a book. So I was going to just read you the first paragraph because that kind of tells you what the whole book is about, and then talk a little bit more about the process of writing it. The house was yellow, a clapboard Cape Cod with a white picket fence and a big bay window on one side, and Ellen loved it with all her heart. She loved the way the wind from the gorge stirred the trees to constant motion outside the windows, the cozy arc of the dormers in the girls' bedroom, the cherry red mantle with the cleanly carved molding over the fireplace in the living room. She had conceived children in that house, suffered a miscarriage in that house, brought her babies home there, argued with her husband there, made love, rejoiced, despaired, sipped tea, and gossiped and sobbed and counseled and blessed her friends there, walked the halls with sick children there, and scrubbed the worn brick of the kitchen floor there at least 1,000 times on her hands and knees. And it was because of all this history with the house, all the parts of her life unfolding there day after day for so many years, that Ellen decided to burn it down. So I was just saying to a friend of mine tonight that this book and the book I'm working on now both are kind of expressions of my fantasies. I was so distraught over leaving my house that I admit I wish I could have burned it down because I just hated to give it up. But once I moved, just the whole idea for writing this first paragraph came into my head, and I wrote it, and then I just did nothing for a while because I didn't think I was a novelist. I was a journalist, and that's what I did. But then the story just kept wanting to be told, and so I wrote more of a chapter, and then because I was in a new town and didn't know anybody and was going a little crazy sitting alone in a room in my house every day, I went to work at our local coffee shop as a barista. And there I got some more life experience and some more ideas. So suddenly the woman in the book owned a coffee shop, and I had all my latte making experience to chart for that. And then a new character came into my head, Mr. Tall Vanilla Latte, came into the coffee shop. And so before I knew it, it had unfolded a little bit, but I still felt I just had no idea what I was doing because I was a journalist, not a novelist. So I took an online novel writing class called Finish Your Novel in 12 Weeks. And believe it or not, it really was a terrific thing for me. It gave me some structure. I had to file something every week, and the instructor commented on it, and other people in the class commented on it. And it was when other people started reading it and said, well, gee, I'm interested in your story, including some of the men in the class, that I thought, well, wow, maybe that's something. And I said to the instructor, well, you know, what do you think this is? Is it women's fiction, et cetera? And she said, well, I wouldn't try to categorize it. She said, but I have to tell you, because your main character's over 40, I think it's called Henlin. So I wasn't sure if that was a good thing or not. So I kept plugging away. It took me quite a while. I got discouraged about halfway through and just gave up. I felt I didn't really know what I was doing, that I was not a novelist. I didn't know where the characters were going or what was going to happen. And so I didn't look at it for about 6 months, but I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And then two things happened. My mother, who's always clipping out little magazine articles and sending to me in the mail, as mothers do, sent me this totally hokey quote that I put up on my computer that said, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And I thought, well, I'd write a novel. And then I thought, well, why am I not writing a novel? And then my husband said to me, you know, you should just finish writing it, because even if you never get it published, it's such an accomplishment to have written a whole entire book, and you can just have that accomplishment the rest of your life, even if nobody else ever reads it. And I thought, well, that's true. So I went and took an online novel writing class again. Since I hadn't finished my novel in 12 weeks, I took the same class over, and I did get through and finish the novel, and was really amazed when I was done that I had something complete. And so I just got a book on how to find an agent and sent off some letters, and was lucky enough to have several agents interested in representing me, and then went on to sell it. And so my little story about how I would really have loved to burn down my house in Portland was lucky enough to see the light of day. And it's been fun for me to have it out there because I've gotten such a great response from people who've read the book with telling me their own stories about places they've lived in and loved, whether it was a house or an apartment or a place they lived in as a kid. And also people really wanting to talk a lot about what makes a house a home and what home really means. And so for me, it's just been very gratifying to hear what other people think about that and to kind of have the book out there. So that's my story.
Well, it's true, there's a common denominator.